On a plank bar in Dodge City, a trail hand slides a single coin across the wood. The bartender pours something the color of weak tea. It burns going down, and it cost him almost nothing. That same night, the gun on his hip cost him the better part of a month of his life. These were the prices of the Old West, and they sound insane today because money meant something out there it does not mean now. The movies turned the saloon into a gleaming palace. The ledgers tell a harder story. So here is the question I want you holding the whole way through. Of all these prices, which one would have truly stunned the men who lived it? And which one quietly took the most? Now, before we go any further, tap that subscribe button. Keep watching because you do not want to miss where this one ends. We are not pricing this off the movies. We are pricing it off the ledgers. The freight invoices, the newspapers that printed the next morning, the diaries men kept by lamplight, the price lists tacked to general store walls. Before we begin, hold one number in your head. A working cowboy earned about $1 a day. His food and his bunk came out of that. $25 to $40 in a good month. Every price you are about to hear gets measured against that wage. That is the whole secret. Money was scarce, a man's labor was cheap, and the things he needed could cost him everything. So let us start at the bottom, with the cheapest thing in the room, and climb. Number 15. The free lunch and the nickel beer. Walk into a saloon in San Francisco or Denver in the 1870s, and a sign over the bar promised a free meal with any drink. Salt ham, pickles. A man paid 5 cents for a beer and ate his fill. It sounds like generosity. It was not. The food was heavy with salt, and salt makes a man thirsty. 1 beer became 3. The saloon gave away the lunch to sell the drink. We still say there is no such thing as a free lunch. That phrase was born on a bar counter, paid for in nickels, by men who thought they were getting something for nothing. Number 14. A shot of rotgut whiskey. A nickel, sometimes a dime. This is the cheapest, dangerous thing on the whole list, and I need you to remember it. They called it 40 rod because they joked it could kill you at 40 rods distance. They called it tarantula juice. Real aged whiskey was rare and expensive out past the railhead. So the barkeep made his own. He took raw grain alcohol and colored it with burnt sugar or chewing tobacco. Some men cut it with turpentine or worse. It was the color of weak tea in a battered tin cup. Hold on to number 14. The cheapest thing in this story is going to matter more than anything else on it. Number 13. A plug of tobacco or a good cigar, 2 bits. Hold a coin like that today and it buys you almost nothing. On the frontier, it bought a dark twist of chewing tobacco a man could make last a week, or 1 decent cigar in a town lucky enough to have them. Remember the wage. $1 a day, and his board came out of it. So a quarter for a smoke was real money. The men in the old photographs, jaws working on a chew, hats pushed back off their eyes, are spending a wage most of us would not get out of bed for. Tobacco was one of the few small comforts a working man allowed himself. Number 12. A hot bath. Anywhere from 25 cents to a full $1. In a mining camp, water did not come from a tap. It was hauled in by the barrel, so washing the trail off your body was a luxury, and the price showed it. And here is the part that turns the stomach. To save water and money, the same tub was filled once and used by man after man. The first got clean water. The 10th bathed in the gray soup the 9 before him left behind. Today, you turn a handle and clean hot water arrives without a single thought. Out there, a bath was something a man saved for and shared and was grateful to get. Number 11. A bottle of medicine. About $1. There was a tonic called Hostetter's Stomach Bitters, sold in every general store in the country. It promised to cure your stomach, your nerves, your fevers, your low spirits. It was nearly half pure alcohol. In a dry county where the law had shut the saloons, a man could not buy a drink. But he could buy his medicine. Everyone knew exactly what it really was. The label said cure. The bottle said whiskey. We have our own shelves of tonics now, promising to fix whatever ails us. The price of pretending was about $1 a bottle. Number 10. A square meal. In a settled town, a quarter put a real plate in front of you. Beef, beans, bread, and coffee on a tin plate at a long table. But ride into a gold camp where everyone was digging and nobody was farming, and that same meal could cost you $1 or more. Food followed the simple law of the frontier. There are diaries out of California in those years that count the cost of a single dinner with real bitterness. A man could pull gold from the creek all morning and still go broke at the supper table that night. Number 9. A single letter carried by the Pony Express. $5. In 1860, 3 men named Russell, Majors, and Waddell built a relay of riders and fast horses all the way from Missouri to California. To send one light letter across that distance cost $5. 5 days of a cowboy's wages for one piece of paper. Young riders, some of them barely more than boys, rode through Indian country and winter storms to carry it. The whole enterprise lasted only about 18 months before the telegraph made it pointless. Today, you send a message across that same country in a single second for nothing at all. A boy once risked his life for days to carry what your thumb now sends without a thought. Number 8. A barrel of flour, $25 to $50 in a boomtown. Flour was life. But when gold or silver emptied a region of everyone willing to farm or freight, the price went wild. In the camps of California and Nevada, a single barrel of flour could cost more than a month of a working man's pay. Snow closed the passes, and the price of a sack of flour climbed with every storm that blew through. Men who had crossed a whole continent for riches found themselves rationing bread. We grumble, and fairly, when the grocery bill creeps up a little each month. They watched the price of survival itself double in a week, with no way on earth to stop it. Number 7. A single egg. $1. This is the price that sounds invented, and it is the one the record proves. San Francisco, 1849 and 1850. The whole world poured in chasing gold, and the city could not feed itself. One egg cost $1. A pair of boots could run $100. It got so bad that men sailed out to the Farallon Islands, jagged rocks in the cold Pacific, to rob the seabird nests by the thousands. Blood was spilled on those rocks over wild bird eggs in what people later called the Egg War. A dozen eggs today might cost you a few dollars at the store. In Gold Rush, San Francisco, one egg cost a man what he earned in a full day of work. Number 6. A night in the company of a saloon woman. The price ran from a quarter in the roughest crib to a great deal more in a fine parlor house. These women have been turned into a joke by a century of movies. The truth was harder, and it deserves more respect than that. Most came to it through no good choices left to them, widowed, abandoned, or alone in a country with almost no honest work open to a woman. They earned every coin in a world that gave them precious few other doors. Some saved their money, bought their own houses, and became women of real property and power in their towns. The coin left on a washstand was never the whole story. Behind it was a woman doing the only arithmetic the frontier left her. Number 5. A seat at the faro table. The price here was hidden, and that made it the most dangerous of all. Faro was the most popular gambling game in the entire West. Not poker. Faro. The movies sell you poker, but the real money moved across the faro layout, with its painted board and its little tiger. They called playing it bucking the tiger. The house kept a quiet edge, small enough that a man never felt it, steady enough that it bled him dry. Doc Holliday, the man the movies made into a gunfighter, earned his living as a faro dealer. A man could sit down with a month of wages and a clear head and stand up hours later with empty pockets, never quite sure where it had gone. Number 4. A saddle that cost more than the horse beneath it. A good hand-tooled stock saddle ran $40 to $60. A working cow pony cost $25 to $35. Read that again. The leather a cowboy sat on was worth more than the animal carrying it. A good saddle lasted 20 years and got handed from father to son. So a cowboy who owned almost nothing in this world would save for one fine saddle and guard it like treasure. When a man died on the trail, the saddle was often the most valuable thing he left behind. Not the horse, not even the gun. The worn leather seat that had carried him across half a continent. Number 3. A Winchester rifle. The model of 1873. $20 to $50, depending on how fine you wanted it. They called it the gun that won the West, and for once, the legend and the ledger agree. It was a lever-action repeater. A man could fire round after round without stopping to reload, and out there, that could be the whole difference between living and dying. Oliver Winchester sold it to the world. It rode in the saddle scabbard of lawmen and outlaws, ranchers and raiders, all alike. $20 was the better part of a month's wages for the plain model. A working man saved hard for a Winchester. It was the tool he trusted to bring him home alive. Number 2. The Sharps Buffalo Rifle. $50 and often a good deal more. This was the most expensive gun a working man was ever likely to own. They called the big one the Big 50 for the heavy 50 caliber round it fired. It was a long-range, single-shot rifle, accurate at distances that seem almost impossible, and it emptied the southern plains of the buffalo. And the plains tribes who depended on the buffalo for everything watched their entire world shot away from a mile off. $50 bought a heavy octagonal barrel and a rifle that could kill where a pistol man could not dream of reaching. It changed the West forever, one slow squeeze of the trigger at a time. And now, number 1, the price you have been waiting for. The Colt Single Action Army. The Peacemaker. $17 in 1873. Watch a young trail hand in a frontier gun shop. He counts the coins out slow onto the counter. The better part of a month of cold camps, dust, and long hours, laid down for one revolver, blued steel and a walnut grip. He lifts it and he feels weeks of his life balanced in one hand. This is the gun on every movie poster, the one on the hip of every actor in a clean white hat who never sweated a day in his life. The most famous price on this whole list, and the one you expected to crown it. So that is number 1, the mystery solved, except it is not. Because the deeper you go into the ledgers, the stranger that famous answer starts to look. The Colt was a fortune, yes, but a man paid it one time. He bought the gun, and he owned the gun, and most men who owned one never killed a soul with it. The movies sold you a West where every man wore a peacemaker and used it before sundown. The real records tell a far quieter story. Many a cowboy never owned a fine Colt at all. He made do with an old cap and ball pistol, or a cheap copy, or no handgun whatsoever. The $17 revolver was a thing a man dreamed of. It was not the thing he carried. So who built the legend we all walk around with? Three hands shaped it. First, the dime novelists, who put a blazing Colt in every cowboy's fist and a fresh body in every chapter. Second, the showmen, men like Buffalo Bill Cody, who took the real and ugly West and turned it into a traveling spectacle of trick shots and spotless heroes. And third, Hollywood, the gleaming saloon with its labeled bottles of fine whiskey, the poker game in place of the faro layout, the hero who drank and gambled all night and never went broke and never got sick. Every frame of it scrubbed clean of the dirt floor and the rotgut, and the salt lunch that quietly took a man's pay. So here is my answer to the question I asked you at the very start. The most insane price on this list was never number one. The Colt was a fortune paid once, and mostly it just hung on a hip and gathered dust. The price that truly ruined men was number 14. The nickel shot of rotgut whiskey. Cheap. Everywhere. Poisoned with whatever was close at hand. A man bought the gun one single time in his life. He bought the whiskey every night. And night after night, a nickel at a time, it drained his wages, then his health, and finally his life. It dug more graves on that frontier than every famous gun on this list combined. We remember the shining Colt behind the museum glass. We forgot the tin cup of weak-colored liquor that did the real and quiet killing. Today, the cheap drink at the end of a hard day is something most of us barely stop to think about. Back then, it was the slow price a man paid without ever noticing until it had taken everything he had. The frontier did not hand its legend to the nickel poison that earned it. It handed the legend to the shining thing on the hip. And somewhere out west, underground that was never marked, lies a man who drank up every dollar he ever made, and not one soul alive can tell you his name. And if you want the truth behind another frontier story the movies got wrong, the next one is already waiting for you.